Welcome back, humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Catherine, co-host and bestie.
Catherine, we are on episode number 157.
I know. Yeah.
And it is 2024. It's January. New year, new month.
That's right.
New microphones.
New week. Today's Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, new microphones.
I know. We've been talking about the new microphone thing for a while, and we did purchase them. Mm-hmm. We did raise enough money. Thank you, contributors, sponsors.
Yes.
To purchase these microphones, and we hope that you can hear us just great.
Yeah, I hope so, after all that.
We really do. Speaking of sponsors, tell our listeners, if somebody's tuning in for the first time, tell them about our sponsor program.
Our sponsors contribute $5 a month. This helps us pay for our platform. It helps, as we just said, buy new equipment, hopefully later on further, educating ourselves so we could just advance forward in our endeavor here.
I know.
Yeah.
We've come a long way.
We have. And we also have sponsors who gave, a one lump sum. So that's wonderful. And I finally have a list of who they are. So I have my own list. And we have 20 altogether.
That is so fantastic.
I know. And I think all of them we got in 1 year.
Yeah. Yeah, because we didn't start the sponsorship program until well into, we didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
We just started with, what do we know? Which wasn't much.
Not when it comes to Patreon, no.
No, or technology in general.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much to all of our humor contributors. And if you'd like to cross over from consumer to contributor, you can do that.
How can they do that?
You can go to my website, tracydegraff.com. You can also get there by putting in comedythatsaves.com. And there's a little link there that says podcast. Click on that. You can also go to the show notes of any of our episodes, and it's there.
True that.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
So thank you. We appreciate it. All right, let's get into the Oreo cookie scandal, episode number 157.
Can you believe we're doing something on a cookie?
I can believe it.
Just a cookie.
Okay, especially Oreo cookies.
Yeah.
That's like the world's most famous cookie.
As I found out while doing this research, yes, it is. And who knew? I had no idea.
I didn't either, and I don't even remember how. You know how I am with Google.
Yeah,
I don't remember how I came to it. Mm-hmm. I think I typed something like scandal, and Oreo came after it some way, somehow.
Oh, okay.
But then when I saw it together, Oreo cookie and scandal, right away I'm like, what happened?
Right. It's funny because you sent me, so we both were on vacation. You were going to Florida by car. Kenny and I and Patrick and his girlfriend were going by flight. And anyway, I get this text from you, and it's, you said you were brainstorming. And then I saw Oreo cookie scandal. I'm like, what?
I know.
Yeah.
And if you listeners, if you hang in there with us for this whole episode, here's what you're going to get out of it. You're going to learn what is it? Mm-hmm. What is it? And guess what? There's more than one. It's scandals, not just scandal.
I was like, I'm going to turn this rock over when I came upon it.
So we're going to give you all the goods of what we know for the Oreo cookie scandals. And also you're going to learn about the other ripoff. That's another in the repertoire of Oreo.
Yeah.
And then I have a little bit that I do about Oreo cookies, double stuffed cookies. I'm going to share what's behind that story.
It's a good one. It's funny.
It is. And then marketing, that was one of the things that I learned about this scandal is that marketing really matters, friends.
Oh, yeah.
As always, stay tuned to the end because we have some spiritual encouragement for you. That's the way we roll with all of our episodes. And, I don't even know what our call to action is going to be.
I was just going to say, hey, we didn't finalize our call to action.
Maybe
it'll just be a sponsor.
Yeah. I like that idea. All right, Catherine, if you're listening and you don't know anything about the Oreo cookie scandals, tell me, what say you?
Well, I didn't know that this cookie began really in the late 1800s. And these two brothers, they had their company, and I believe they were Jewish. And then one of the brothers got sick, and he went off to Europe, and his name was Jacob. The other one was Joseph. And while that was going on, this is just a quick summary, the other brother merged with this guy, I think his name was, No, Wiles. So the two brothers, their last name was Luce, and then this Wiles guy, he was with this biscuit company. And in fact, the American Biscuit Company, which is that the one that is actually Nabisco? Yes, it is. National Biscuit Company.
They merged together to become Nabisco. And what was happening back then was there was huge competition. That's what kind of made the first brother sick. The first brother was so busy trying to compete against these other baking companies that were getting established at that time that the stress of it just about killed him.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't see that.
Well, and then he ended up being forced to go to England to get better.
Okay.
And while he was there, the other brother was like, I'm in charge now. And he kind of took on a mentality of, if you can't beat him, join him, and let's create a big conglomerate.
Yes.
A corporation that instead of competing with one another, let's merge forces and let's become one big entity and we'll control the cookie world.
Right. And they had changed names a bit. They were the Sunshine Biscuit Company, and they got that name from their factory they built, had a ton of windows. Mm-hmm. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. But while they were still partners, they came up with the cookie called Hydrox.
I know, fun name, right?
Horrible name. Hydrox. And it literally is because of oxygen and
hydrogen.
Right. And I mean, it's a mashup of the two words. Like, who would...
Well, side note, because back then, there was a lot of bad practices in manufacturing of food. And they were putting impure items in the food. Yeah, they were putting things in there like sawdust and things like that. Do you need keys for the car?
Oh my gosh, it scared me. Muffin just came in.
Look in my purse. It's in the closet. Her car? Oh, your car needs to be moved.
Okay, hang on.
Sorry.
But getting my keys.
Do you have keys to our car? Okay. Muffin came in because he's going to get groceries. Thank you. And Catherine parked behind me.
So scared me. He could just take my car.
He's not going to take your car.
I didn't think so.
My car is registered as the silver car. You know, when he goes to pick him up, he's going to, pop the trunk.
Well, mine has yours too.
Oh, I know. Okay, back to Oreo.
Yes.
Here's the thing. The one brother is off in England. He's recovering, or Europe. I don't know where he was. Maybe he was in Spain, soaking up the sun. I don't know.
I just saw Europe,
But he was away just trying to live, and get better. And then the other brother was left in charge. And he was like, okay, we're going to do it my way. And my way is, why fight it? We're going to come together with this conglomerate. And it was a brand new concept in business to build these conglomerates, to build control like that. And he thought if it could work in these other industries, it can work in the cookie baking industry. And that was his philosophy. Well, he writes a letter to his brother in Europe, and the brother who's sick goes, don't do it, because these people put me in this bed.
Yeah.
The stress of fighting with these, whatever name that he had for him, put me in this bed, and I don't want to get in bed with them.
Yeah, I like I said, I didn't know that that's what made him ill, but I did know that the competition, this is early 1900s, late 1800s, and it was fierce.
It was.
The competition. And the Hydrox cookie was created before the Oreo, and it was doing well, and especially the Jewish community loved it. I also didn't know how long it had actually been around.
Right.
And then the more recent years, when the Hydrox cookie made a comeback, Oreo, company of Oreo, Nabisco. Is it still Nabisco?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Because the other one was taken over by Keebler and then Kellogg's.
Right.
So anyway, they have this conspiracy. A big grocery chain said to Hydrox company, we want to put your cookies out, but you're going to have to make some changes, because guess what? The Oreo people, the Nabisco people, are stealing your shelf space. So it's like still going on today.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible. Like,
I can't believe it.
The competition, what's behind it, greed, money. We have to win at all costs.
Yeah.
There's no ethics.
No.
Where's the ethical standard?
I don't know, but it is just unbelievable. Everything was copied by Nabisco from the pattern of the little grooves on the edge of the cookie. Yeah. But they say that Hydrox had the better design. They had like little flowers, whereas the Oreo has these little kind of like cross-like pattern. And it's just that Hydrox, I think the main killer was its name. And then, of course, marketing for Oreo was way better.
Well, and here's the thing. I always thought that Hydrox was the knockoff, and so did everybody else.
Yes, that's right. That's what I didn't even know there was one till I read this, but yes, that's the belief.
The other thing was pricing. Pricing and perceived value really matters, and this is where marketing comes into play, right? Because oftentimes we think if we're pricing goods, right, you would think that the lower price item is going to be more popular because people want to save money, right? Well, guess what? No, they look at that low price item and they go, that's cheap. I'm not cheap. I'm better than that.
Yeah.
And they picked the higher price one. So for many years, Oreo operated at a deficit. They actually lost money, but they hung in there. And then they got wise and they said, you know what? We're going to change this up. We're going to price above Hydrox so that we look like the better, more valuable brand. And they did that. And they didn't change anything other than we're pricing it higher. Although they did go kosher. Hydrox was a kosher cookie.
Right.
It was kosher because it didn't use pig products or lard or whatever to create that vanilla filling, the white filling. Well, so the Jewish culture community back then, the kosher Jewish community bought Hydrox cookies.
Yes.
And they were actually certified as a kosher item. Well, Oreo spent a bunch of money, millions of dollars, to become kosher. And then
which was another, stab.
Well, it was almost like the crushing blow, right?
It was, because
to Hydrox.
The Hydrox was really, they were hanging in there, and they made a comeback, and then Oreo went and did that, and then that was game over just about. For them,
and for
Hydrox.
For Oreo to look at this thing and go, you know what, we're losing money, but we don't care, we're staying in there, right? It was years, like a couple of years, 4 years, maybe, whatever it was, and eventually they crushed the competition, and away they went. They went bye-bye.
Yeah.
Until there was a resurgence, because now here we are in 2024, right?
Yeah.
People are reading labels more than they have in the past.
Yes.
And they're being more mindful of junk that they're putting in their body. I think that we could all agree that manufactured cookies probably not the most nutritious item that we could choose.
And yet that's what the schools want you to bring. No homemade stuff because there might be germs. Everybody might get sick, but boy, you can take those manufactured cookies.
You're right.
That's real good for you.
You're right. Yeah. They say if it's packaged, bring it in. That's funny.
We're so backwards and upside down.
We are. Now, I learned this just today or late yesterday as I was doing research on this particular topic. There was a lawyer involved.
Yeah, you were saying that before we started.
Get this. Do you know what happens when lawyer gets involved?
Well, complications.
Bad things.
And, yeah.
I'm sorry, lawyers. If we have any lawyers listening, oh, wait, they don't listen to things like this. They don't have fun.
We have a couple lawyer friends. Maybe they listen.
I doubt it. Anyway, the two brothers, they had their disagreement, right?
Yeah.
And so the one brother who's sick, he's in Europe and he gets the letter, blah, blah, blah. The other brother's going his own way. So they kind of part ways. But guess what? They did reconcile after a period of time. But you know who bubbled up as their main competitor then? The lawyer. Their lawyer who they had been working with. The one who was working with the first brother who got sick.
Jacob, yes.
Okay. The lawyer was the one who really helped him to fight the competition. And so he knew the ins and the outs. He went and started his own business.
Oh, no way.
Sure did.
What was the name of his?
I don't know.
Oh.
Can't be expected to remember all this.
Should we ban?
All I'm saying is, loyalty and trust and all of that, it's hard to come by. Yeah. And you would think that a lawyer wouldn't compete, but I guess he didn't have a non-compete kind of a thing.
Depends, right. Yeah.
Well, and then, so the two brothers, they kind of reconciled, but this lawyer, he went off and did his own thing. So it was a case of sibling rivalry to a certain degree, but then I was kind of happy to hear that the brothers had kind of pulled it back together.
Yeah. Wow. That's really interesting. All right. So you mentioned marketing.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk about that for a little bit. Recently, this article was published in 2020. Oreo built an asteroid-proof bunker and filled it with cookies, powdered milk, and their secret recipe. This was all a marketing thing.
Isn't that funny?
They really did do it. They really did build this this bunker in case a global catastrophe happened. And there was a lot of buzz on social media and whatever else. It's literally some kind of seed vault or something. And it's in, I probably won't pronounce this properly, but Svalbard, Norway. It's in Norway.
Wow.
Yes. And it's still there. And it was created, this vault was created specifically for this asteroid that was supposed to come November 3rd, I think, of 2020. But that doesn't matter. The point is that Oreo saw the opportunity, or their marketing people, to, use
Create
this for
buzz.
a ploy. Exactly.
Okay, here's the disturbing part of that.
Mm-hmm.
For one thing, an asteroid hitting the Earth. Okay, so these people are probably flat earthers or whatever. They believe weird stuff. Okay, there's that. And they fill their bunker with what? Their product. Why? Because it's probably going to last 1,000 years. Why? Because it's filled with stuff.
Wait till when we get to our next point, our takeaway, I will talk about what's in that cream.
Well, let's talk about it now.
Yeah.
What's
in
there?
Back to this, just real quick too, one could look this up, the vault, and it's got the Oreo, font on there, and it is quite funny. An asteroid was supposed to hit, but it was very, very unlikely that it was going to cause any kind of damage.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Did you hear, just real quick, and then you can get to that other part, but did you hear about all the different flavors that Oreo has come up with?
No.
I know they have a Halloween one. Wasabi.
Ew.
Wasabi and chocolate? No.
Oh, I don't even really like Oreo cookies anyway.
And then they had carrot cake? Yuck. Swedish fish?
What?
Yeah, they had a Swedish fish.
What, like Swedish fish, like in the middle of it or something?
Yeah.
Ew. Oh, that just sounds awful.
Okay, so all of these different flavors gave them jumping points for more marketing. Just the fact that we're even talking about it, right?
Right.
Because then people could be like, could you believe that an Oreo with wasabi? And some idiot is out there going, I want to try that.
Yeah. Whatever, to create buzz, I guess.
Yeah.
But I have seen the Halloween ones. That's it. Like a little orange in between instead of white.
Well, and then they do the real thin ones now. They went big. They went with double stuff. Mm-hmm. And don't let me forget to tell my double stuff.
I just
story.
laughed right when you said it.
So they went double stuff, and I loved those.
Yeah.
I like those better than the regular stuffed ones.
Do you really?
Because I like the middle.
Oh.
But that's where all the garbage is. That's where the high fructose corn syrup is, or whatever it is, and all that junk.
Which, by the way, Hydrox does not have that.
They just use like regular sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, there you go. And then they also have the super thin ones, the super thick ones, the regular ones.
Jeez.
And then they have the mini Oreos that go into like a little bag that you can send to school or whatever.
Is there an Oreo cookie cereal?
I'm sure
there is. Just chocolate
I'm sure
chips?
there is. I'm sure that. Oh, okay. And then the other thing that really helped Oreo to crush Hydrox was when they combined forces with ice cream and they made Oreo cookie ice cream.
Isn't there one at like Culver's or something? A Blizzard?
I'm sure there is.
I don't
McDonald's. They partnered up with McDonald's for an Oreo, whatever they call it at McDonald's.
Okay.
McFlurry.
Oh, that's Oreo?
Mm-hmm.
My gosh.
And back when they first made those Oreo cookie ice cream like deals, they they claimed that they had to go kosher because there were so many in the Jewish community that wanted this ice cream or whatever. I don't know that it had anything to do with that necessarily. I don't trust them now that I know the truth about Oreo.
I gotta stop eating them.
Well,
yes.
I have to honestly say that I don't eat Oreos. I don't buy them. I don't eat them. But now that I know, no.
Right.
No.
And if you so happen to have a craving, or me, or whatever, I'm going to try to look for that Hydrox.
Yeah. Well,
Hydrox still out there.
The Hydrox brand made a comeback with these, like, not that long ago, so they could be out there, with people that are looking for more pure ingredients, like real vanilla and real sugar.
Yeah, well, and the Jewish community they just kept writing to Hydrox saying, please come back, and then they did, and then that's when this big grocery chain, I don't know which one it was, said, hey, we want your product on our shelves, but Oreo, they're hiring people to specifically come in and shove you off our shelves. They do. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Hydrox actually took photos and put them out on like their Facebook page that said, look what they're doing to us. And they like,
oh, wow.
On the grocery shelf, they would put them behind the Oreo cookies.
Yeah.
So they would face the shelf with only Oreo. So you wouldn't even see Hydrox. They're on the shelf, but you can't even see them.
Yeah, because the grocery store employee was stocking the Hydrox, whereas with Oreo, their people were coming in, and that's how they.
It was all a ploy.
It's so crazy. Like, yeah,
it's fixed. Everything is fixed, Catherine. But guess what? Here we are in 2024, and I placed my grocery order right before Muffin came in here on my little phone right here.
Yes, you did.
And I don't have no shelf to deal with.
Right.
And Muffin is just going to pull up in the slot, right, and pop the trunk. And they're going to put all my groceries in there.
It's a good way to save money, too, because when you're actually in the store, you see things you didn't really have on your list, and then you're adding to your groceries.
Plus, you have to get out of the car. I don't want to do that.
I'll tell you, I do like to go in the store sometimes because I like to look for their discontinued or reduced price stuff. So, like, you can get expensive meat for a lot less. And then she's making faces. Like, oh, that sounds like...
What is it?
It's me.
What are you doing?
It was my thumb on the chair.
It sounded like Catherine had lunch and it wasn't agreeing with her.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. So let's talk about this. Now, Oreo got ripped off, okay?
Yeah.
So here's the headline. A U.S. jury just convicted 2 men for selling a secret Oreo whitening technique to China. Okay, so this got my blood going.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read the article. It's pretty short. 2 men in California are... This is in 2014, though.
Okay, so 10 years ago.
But it happened, and this is still kind of going on with the Chinese. Just saying. 2 men in California are facing more than 2 decades in prison for stealing a recipe for making titanium dioxide, a chemical used to whiten the cream in Oreo cookies, as well as numerous other uses in the manufacture of paper, plastic, and paint. Ew.
Oh.
The method was stolen from chemical giant DuPont and sold for more than $20 million to a Chinese state-owned rival Pangang Group. I don't know how to speak. I don't know how to say it. Whose previous attempts to buy the recipe from DuPont had been rebuffed. So they had failed. So now they're going to steal. So the conviction of... I'm just going to say the name, Walter Liang Heen Liu and Robert McGarrell, I can't say it, handed down on March 6th by a U.S. federal jury after 6 weeks of testimony. That's a long time.
Yeah.
6 weeks. Is part of a growing trend of economic espionage committed on behalf of Chinese firms. The U.S. has prosecuted more than 100 people over the last few years, and this is in 2014. In cases dealing with everything from designer seed technology to aerospace secrets, and also Oreo cookie filling.
Okay, guess what? The bigger crime here is the fact that you go to the paint manufacturer to find out how to make the cookie cream whiter. Hello.
I know.
What are we eating?
As soon as I read DuPont, and then this chemical, this chemistry figure, TiO2. I'm like, what? Ew. So that's used in the Oreo cookie, folks. I'll bet it's not in the Hydrox one.
All right. The other thing about marketing. When Hydrox was doing their marketing, they were all like, oh, no, we're not being treated right by Oreo. We were the first ones. You should buy our cookie.
And they had that voice, too.
They had the worst ads. They had a person dressed up in a big cookie, looked like
no.
Yeah. And kind of like crying, that we were the first ones. Don't believe that those other cookies are better.
Well, they kind of made some bad decisions. First of all, the name.
Yes,
Hydrox.
bad.
Bad.
Yeah.
And then that.
The marketing was horrible.
The big bad wolf. Yeah.
Right. And instead of saying like what Oreo was doing, Oreo took a different spin to it. And you remember all the vintage ads of you could be a kid again. It's fun to eat an Oreo because,
no, I don't.
Well, they have them all out there like from the 70s and 80s.
Oh.
And they show a grown woman opening an Oreo cookie and really like, oh, it's almost like an orgasmic experience type of a thing. Like, remember, we're going to wash that gray right out of my hair. All of that. They're saying this is going to be the best experience of your life. Okay. Because life is bad. But you know what?
But a cookie.
You know what'll make it better? This Oreo cookie right here.
And a glass of milk.
Yes. And they show you how to undo it, how to unscrew the Oreo. Oh my gosh. You lick it and you dunk it. There's like an official way to eat an Oreo.
Well, doesn't the package say Milk's favorite cookie?
I don't know, but
yeah, I think it does.
They took it and ran with it, but they focused on the positive, my friends.
Oh, well.
They focused on how this cookie's going to change your life.
They just hired better marketing people.
They did. Mm-hmm. Where the other people were like doom and gloom.
We can only have the Jewish people. No, I don't know that they did that.
Okay, where Oreo said, guess what? An asteroid is coming, but you know what? You're going to have a bunker filled with Oreos.
Oh, yeah.
What a way to go out.
And the recipe, it's like the KFC thing. It's a secret recipe.
Really?
Oh, man.
Where Hydrox would just be like, man, the asteroid's coming.
Well, I didn't quite perceive it as that, but I also didn't know that they did that they kind of moaned about it. Yeah. But still, I think their cookie sounds better. You got a call?
No, but I have to tell...
it's grocery emergency.
Grocery
Speaking of groceries,
I have to tell him that Ron is there.
Oh,
otherwise,
are they looking?
I'm at the store.
Oh,
are you at the pickup area? Yes, I am.
Oh, these modern conveniences.
Yeah,
and interruptions.
Yeah, I should have sent him that link that lets him do it, but I forgot.
Oh, this is fine.
All right, now I have to tell him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave this in the podcast too.
Well, this is
life. Life happens. Talk anyway, right?
That's right. I'm telling Muffin they're coming.
All right, now Tracy, you have to tell them about your Oreo bit that you came up with long before we even thought of even having a podcast, let alone this subject.
Was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
because this really happened. Mm-hmm. I gained some weight. Surprise.
I wish the audience could have seen your face.
Like, what a shock. And, some girls, right, when we gain weight, we gain it in our chest. Some do. Some don't.
Now you should see my face. Yeah. I don't gain it there.
Well, I gain it in my chest.
Yeah.
And this one day, I had gone to put on a spring top. Now, we live in the Chicago area, so, you don't wear, like, pastel colors in the winter. You wear, like, death colors, like black and gray and brown.
To match the atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, spring came that year, and I got out my spring top, and I went to put it on. And between last spring and the spring that we were in, I couldn't button my top.
And Ron was in the room.
He was watching me get dressed. And I couldn't button it. And so I looked at him and I just said, "You're welcome." Because literally, I do know guys who are paying off second mortgages for that. To have that increase.
And all you did was
have some double stuffed Oreos.
That's it. That's her punchline.
All it cost you was some double stuffed Oreos.
Awesome.
My goodness. And then I very quickly took off the top that I couldn't button. Mm-hmm. I put on a tank top. Mm-hmm. And then I put the top back on and just left it open.
There you go.
That's how we fix that, friends.
That's how we do. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. I recently had new pants. It's like, dang it.
Yeah.
But whatever. But I actually, so as we mentioned in the beginning of this episode, it's a new year. And my word for the year is discipline.
Oh, good.
In many areas. And so I'm already doing pretty well.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
No Oreo cookies for you.
No. Well, that was not my problem in the first place. But yeah, no more giving into cravings and things like that. So, because I do have them.
And after this episode, I don't think anybody's going to eat those Oreo cookies.
Thanks to us.
We'll probably be sued by Oreo. They've got their
they'll thank us
out.
Because guess what? It's more publicity. Like somebody could just search something and our podcast comes up and Oreo gets exposure and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, we're part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, anything else that you wanted to say about Oreo?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, let's look at on the brighter side of things. Let's look at some scripture.
Yes,
how about
that's
that?
always the brighter side.
All right. So we've got 3 different scriptures to look at today. One is Exodus 20:15, and it says, hold on, where did it go?
I'll just say it.
Okay.
You shall not steal.
That's it.
Folks,
don't steal.
That is a command from God.
And guess what? It refers to don't rob a bank and don't steal a cookie recipe.
That's right.
Don't steal an idea.
Don't steal anything.
Right.
Don't covet.
To yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Preach it.
Another scripture is 1 Timothy 6:10.
Mm-hmm.
I've got that one. It says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and some people, craving money, have wandered from the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows." Honestly, I do believe that is true.
Oh, yeah, because you're just bringing grief on yourself.
And
in the end,
you don't have to look far. Like, you can look in the celebrity community, people that have all kinds of money. Guess what?
Yeah.
If you're sacrificing your health and well-being and your ethics, like your essence of yourself, your character, it's not worth it. All right, and then we have one more scripture, and it is John 10:10. Love this verse.
Me too.
"The thief comes only to steal, to kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full."
And that's Jesus speaking.
It is. And, the Bible gives us a lot of guidance in life. It gives us principles to live by. And those principles are filled with humility. The example that we have is Jesus on the cross, right? Like, he was entitled to everything. He was perfect. And yet he gave up his entitlement in order to take the payment of our sin so that we could be reconnected to God.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I know.
Let's live for that.
Right.
That's something worth living for.
Can you imagine that?
No.
I know, me neither.
I can't imagine having it all and then choosing suffering. He chose suffering. A lot of times suffering just comes our way, right? In this life.
Sure.
Like, we're not going to get out of this thing without some suffering. Jesus chose suffering for a greater purpose in order that we could be connected to God.
I mean, just to consider himself nothing.
Hello.
And where he came from. Yeah. Grace and heaven and oh my God. Yeah.
Read the book of Philippians. That's the call to action. It just came to me. Thank you, Lord. The book of Philippians, and the Apostle Paul is talking about that very thing, that Jesus, who made himself nothing, became a servant for us. He became humbled on the cross to the point of obedience of a crucifixion.
Yeah.
So read the book of Philippians. I think it's only 4 chapters.
Yeah.
4 short chapters in Philippians. You'll be done in probably less than an hour. Just open up the Bible app, wherever you find your Bible, read the book of Philippians, and just allow the Holy Spirit to shape our compass. Give us a compass.
Just pray for that before you read it. He'll do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was fun. Who knew that we were going to end there? Because we really didn't have a call to action at the end.
Now we do.
Now we do.
Yeah,
read Philippians.
Right.
All right, friends. Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm still Catherine.
See you next time.